Still tuning in on 89.5 FM, the mother of community radio station in Africa. Good morning, Cape Town. Good morning, South Africa. Actually, good morning, continent of Africa. As we always say on the show, we all want, doesn't matter what race you are, culture, religion. We are human beings, just love one another. Hoping that we're going to be the generation that changes that. Talking about change, we have our first guest on the show who have been doing a lot of things. The organization is called Umtshayelo Foundation. It's based here in Cape Town, a non-profit organization which was founded the Komani Social Enterprise as part of their mission to build supportive and positive communities. As you know that, especially in the Cape Flats, a lot of things, social ills that are happening out there. But we always say, the rose will always grow even on a crack of a concrete. It always happened that way. But anyway, our first guest, Stephanie, and also Andrew, they will take us through, TUF, what is it all about, Umtshayelo Foundation, as Umtshayelo is a broom, so they will explain to us that, so what has been happening, especially with the organization. As you know that we're in the beginning of the year, a lot of people are busy, so that we, after the elections, at least they see what direction they have. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I talk a lot. I've been talking yapping too much.
Thank you so much for being on the show and for making it all the way to our studio. Would you mind giving a brief introduction of your organization for people who aren't familiar with it?
Yeah, well, the Umtshayelo Foundation started in 2013. Umtshayelo, like Kuzi said, it means broom. And so we have this philosophy or motto, slogan that says we're here to sweep suffering away.
Wow.
So essentially, that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years. Basically seeing to students, seniors, and launched our social enterprise about 4 years ago. Komani, which is the manufacturing of reusable sanitary pads. So in a nutshell, that's what we are. We also distribute food on a regular basis, and we can talk about that a bit more later.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Would you mind also giving a brief introduction of yourself?
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much for sharing the space with us. We appreciate it. My name is Stephanie, and I'm here to represent Komani. As Andrew said, it's just another project, but it's the social enterprise of TUF. And Komani actually is a Xhosa word that means female monarch. So it's to the girls we usually say princesses or queens, and we're about restoring dignity to the aspect of period poverty.
Wow. It's actually an issue that I've been really passionate about through all of school, and I started a club about this in middle school. So it's incredible to see the work that you're doing here. And also it's such a global issue. There was recently, or I guess not so recently anymore, a documentary on Netflix about period poverty, I guess for people who are more interested after the interview. But could you take us back in time a little bit to how the organization started?
Yeah, so the two of us spent a few years in England, and through our relationships of previous work, we, by God's will, I think, we met up with an Englishman who took us over to England, and we stayed there for a while. And on our return, and one of the reasons he took us over was simply to aid us in terms of setting up the Umtshayelo Foundation. So on our return in 2013, we had no idea what we wanted to do. We just had a broad overview in terms of what TUF, or the acronym for the Umtshayelo Foundation, would be. And so the first thing that we ventured into was caring for senior people. I mean, 40% of our elders in this country cannot fend for themselves. I mean, and so we decided to start at that particular point, and so we just met with a group of seniors and we started feeding them, caring for them. That's where we started in 2013. We subsequently branched out to an after-school program where we cared for, currently today we look after about 80 kids.
Wow.
And we provide them tutoring and mentoring. And we have an open kitchen now, which distributes about, I think in the last year we did about 7 tons of food.
Whoa.
And at amount to like 40,000 meals. And that's what we did last year in terms of food distribution to relieve some form of hunger amongst our beneficiaries. And so those are 4 main things that we currently do. We look after a group of seniors. We provide whatever care we can for them to assist them. And then we have students that we provide tutoring and mentoring to. We subsequently in the process also have owned 2 industrial units, which our funder basically purchased for us in Brackenfell. And the hunger relief, and then Kamani was established as a social enterprise, which then feeds back into the other projects that we currently have. So it's an important aspect of our day-to-day running.
So you're doing a lot, it sounds like.
Quite a bit.
It sounds like a lot to juggle. I'm curious, I think our listeners have heard about food insecurity and the importance of taking care of older people, but I think like period poverty is a topic that people know way less about. Could you give a brief overview of the topic for people who have never heard of it?
So to me, period poverty in a short version of it is the lack of access to product, as well as the fact that they can't afford it. And it covers a range of things. It also covers the fact that they don't have access to clean toilet facilities. And of course, there's the water and sanitation health as well. We focus on 2 aspects: accessibility and affordability of product. And our product is sustainable. So I didn't know the term period poverty, and that, if that is your reality, then it's another way of looking at your privilege that you have had.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But without going the stats route, 7.7 million people in South Africa alone has issues with period poverty, which is a direct result of the poverty-stricken country that we find ourselves in.
Wow. And there's obviously a huge stigma around it. And so it's an aspect of poverty and a lack of access to resources that is just not talked about enough. So it's incredible that your organization is kind of like taking on a stigmatized topic.
So now, how does Komani contribute, though, in the economic empowerment of previously unemployed women that sometimes you deal with within the organization?
Andrew likes this topic.
So part of the establishment of Komani in the production, manufacturing of a reusable pad is the fact that we have to employ people to manufacture it. And so we've been, in a sense, we've been not fortunate, but we've tried to source employment from people who are unemployed, and to give them a skill in terms of a sewing skill with regard to manufacturing the pad. So women empowerment is critical in terms of our production.
And a crazy part, though, is South Africa have diverse cultures. You know, there used to be a time where men would be scared to go buy, pads at the shop and all that. As an organization, obviously, you will see those things or study some of the stuff. Has that changed? Is it changing now? Men are understanding that we all human beings, we understand each other. You're going to have girls as a father, has that changed there? Or do you feel like there's still a huge gap that needs to be closed?
I think essentially men have become more empathetic, I think. There's greater empathy in terms of period and menstruation. So, to be honest with you, when I brought this idea of a reusable sanitary pad to my wife. She puked.
No, not that bad. It wasn't that bad. I was shocked.
Yeah, it was my idea to bring it to her. So when we talk about men, I don't think it's such a big stigma concerning that.
I'm loving it.
I love the direction that's going.
Okay, we know that when it comes to ideas, we've seen it during the COVID-19. There was, I think it was the article of a boy you created where if you're washing your hands with a sanitizer, you just step on it with your foot. And that invention became a worldwide invention, but it was created out of wood and all that. But now, how do you feel? How do you guys protecting your this idea in terms of like it's gonna go out there? So how has it been working out on that side? Because we know these big corporation companies say it sometimes.
I think for us, the reality is the figure I gave a bit earlier on in terms of 7.7 million, there's no way that we as a social enterprise would ever be able to reach this. And so for us, there is no competition in terms of anybody else manufacturing the product. We just know that we have a crowning product in terms of the quality of fabrics. And there are YouTube videos that shows you how to make a reusable product. We've tried so many of them, and that is the reason we went our own direction, because we wanted a product that we are comfortable to wear. And so go ahead and replicate and do what you must to reach the women that have the need out there. We collaborate, we do not compete.
That's a beautiful message for all social enterprises, that like doing good is not a competition.
Yes.
And we all have something to contribute. For people who are listening in, who have heard about your organization so far and want to get involved, how can they get in contact with you to do that?
Okay, so obviously our socials, Kamani Girl, you'll find us on whatever socials. Our website is there, but it's under construction. We're launching a new one on the in April. But the big thing at the moment for us is I don't know if you're going to go there yet in terms of our lunch that we have. We have a potential partnership lunch for a big, audacious, ambitious campaign that we are launching this particular year to take our product to Kamani. Kamani is also used to be Queenstown in the Eastern Cape. So we're taking Kamani to Kamani. And that to us is, even we get scared when we think about it. But if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough, is it?
Still tuning in on 89.5 FM. If you have just tuned in now, you're tuning in on 89.5 FM. My name is Kusi, and if you want to be part of the show, all you have to do, you can WhatsApp us on 061-862-1065. We have a TUF, Umtshayelo. They were still telling us regarding the beautiful work that they're doing. So now we are in sustainable development, right? Yes. Where everybody's talking about being green, climate change. I know that with Steve, sometimes we will have debate regarding about climate change. But now I want to know though, so with you guys, how have you promoted environmental friendliness, especially when it comes to your product that you guys created, especially for the ones that can't really afford?
So I think just very briefly, in a nutshell, this little pack that contains 4 pads replaces more than 400 disposable pads that does not end up in landfill over a period of 3 years for one user. So if you are thinking, and if you know that a regular disposable pad takes between 500 and 800 years to decompose into landfill, that is a huge contribution to decreasing the waste.
Okay.
Does that somehow?
Yes, definitely. And then what is the long-term vision for you guys? The year is beginning already, but it's also ending at the same time.
Our vision for this year, basically, is to find support for 10,000 of these packs to distribute it along the N1 to Kamani and back to Cape Town on the N2. And that's a huge project. And so on the 10th of April, we're having a partnership gathering at our center. And whoever's interested in supporting the project itself, you're most welcome to attend on the 10th of April.
Okay, perfect. So the 10th of April, an important event happening for people who want to get more involved and want to contribute to this huge goal you have.
Okay, because, with the idea that the organization came up with is super awesome. But Have you guys talked to the city of Cape Town, government, stakeholders?
I thought we're not talking about government today.
Oh!
The thing is that none of our requests are being entertained at the moment because we are not SABS certified. We are going through the process of it. We comply to all of their standards, but for a non-profit to become compliant, it is very costly. We're talking about a couple of 100,000. So it is something that we have set our aims on for this particular year. But in the meantime, while we have this aim and this ideal, girls are still getting their periods. So we've got to just circumvent that particular channel and just go to corporate sectors and ask them to adopt us and all the rest of it. Periods don't stop because SABS approval is still pending.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Anyway, before we let you go, we always ask our guest in studio. Before we let you go, before I ask you this question first, anything that you guys want to add first?
I want to add that there's a number that they can WhatsApp if they are interested.
Please.
It's 073-640-7268.
Please support the beautiful cause, making sure that that girl child, is self-esteem is boosted, especially when it comes to what has been happening around the country.
And the added thing is that if you do support Kamani, you're also you're supporting the after-school program, you're supporting the seniors, you're supporting the meals.
Please, again, contact details, socials, and also website.
Kamani Girl, both Instagram and Facebook, and 073-640-7268.
Let's say somebody who's listening now, they have these beautiful ideas, just the way you guys are doing, but different ones. And they're scared to do it because a lot of people are stoppable. As soon as they say, you know what, I have this idea, and then you said, shut up, you won't be able to do it. And then they stop. What motivation can you give? Because it seems like you guys have been pushing this thing for long. Even if there is somebody who's trying to stop, you're like, nah, I don't think it will work. And you'll be like, it's fine, you're pushing on. How to get that kind of a motivation, especially for a listener who's tuning in now?
No big thing started without a small group of people who were committed and dedicated. It's like people often say to me, "Oh, well, it's the small things." But remember, oceans only started with drops. It's a drop that causes a pool that causes a river, and a river that produces a lake that ends up as a sea. So don't undermine or underestimate the small things that you do in this world, because it's the small things that creates big change.
Damn.
Wow, that's a powerful message. I don't know that I have anything to add on to that. That was so beautifully said.
No, I shouldn't do this, but I was going to say to climb a mountain is hard work. And it is, and sometimes you just don't I don't want to carry on, I don't want to do this, I'm tired, I'm fit, I wasn't fit for this cause. And yet you've got to do it because you're asking for her. You're doing something for somebody else outside of you. And if that doesn't motivate you, then you need to relook what your focus really is.
I'm loving it. Thank you very much.
Those are such beautiful words of inspiration. Thank you again for being on the show this morning and for coming all the way to our studio. We really appreciate you being here. As you know, it is still Reggae Monday, so we are going to play you some more reggae, leading you into the news at 11. Thank you for tuning in.
We are go. We are go. We are go. We are go.